Okay. Yeah, you see what it is. You see what it is. Okay, we live doing some real street journalism, you feel me? That's what we do. We document the stories, we talk to the people. So now, brother, like I said, you know, those accomplishments are definitely noteworthy. We congratulate you on seeing that part of your lifetime achievements through, you know what I'm saying? Now, this is where we are currently, where you're giving back. Talk about your program, Minneapolis FAB, and then talk to the people about how important it is when you see that talent, like your son, because you're a father that understands the game now from a whole nother level, that we either participate on a personal level or be highly engaged so that we can help guide that talent to a better finish than what's come before us.
Yeah, so when I started the Future Academic Ballers program, I did start it with Jason Johnson again. He was instrumental. I had conversations with him over the summer of 2009. This is when I retired. Well, I guess I'd call it retired, but I hung it up because I knew the injury that I sustained was career ending. So from there, I told him my thought processes, and we started meeting every week about what I wanted to see in a program, about how I wanted to structure it. And it all came from the story you just heard about not having advocates, not understanding the system, not knowing how to delegate or advocate or navigate through it. And it got us to this point of creating FAB. And FAB...
And what does that stand for one more time?
Future Academic Ballers.
Okay.
Originally, we were called Free Agent Basketball.
And what year did that start again?
2009, 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was the year I hung it up. That's the last year I got paid to hoop, and that's where we were going. It was now time to give back what I've learned, not just from my experiences, but the experiences of people that came before me. And you know, the community, and just understanding what was a necessity to the kids that were going to come up behind me.
Okay. And what I've noticed is that you took a group of young men, including your son, right?
Mm-hmm.
From a very early age. What age was that?
I started them at 5.
At 5. So
yeah.
What grade is that?
Kindergarten.
Okay, from kindergarten. And where are they at currently in their grade?
My oldest group is juniors. My son is a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the accomplishments that you've made in that investment in these young ones from that period of time to now.
Yeah. So what we did is we used a whole different approach to teaching basketball. Man, it wasn't just going to be physical or off your ability or your size. It was going to be mental. So it was going to teach the brain. And from that standpoint, we knew, you know, I come from a family that's every man in my family over 6 foot. So I knew that my kids and my family members were going to be big. So I wasn't concerned about if they were going to be big enough or athletic enough. I was mainly concerned about did they have it with the IQ and the mentality. And if they had those two things, everything else was going to be able to take its place later. That's why they say 90% mental and 10% physical. So
okay, shoot that line real quick, brother. Let's see. Okay. I got it. So now, but talk. So you're building physical and mental. Talk about the accomplishments based on those investments, brother.
Yeah. So when we invested early in them guys mentally, when we started pouring into them, it started showing up physically for them. The groups that I had, they won consecutive state tournaments in a row in the winter sessions at the highest level. They went to nationals several times.
This is AAU?
Winter would be traveling Minnesota, and then AAU would be the summer. So, and we've been to AAU nationals maybe 7 times. Out of them 7 times, we probably placed in the top 10 at least 4 times. Mm-hmm. So we were starting to set trends, and I wasn't able to do what a traditional AAU program can do, which is recruit and be able to go get other players and put them on the team and just have a successful team with the physicality and the athleticism. So I just trained the kids I had, developed them, and they were able to compete against that that same tier of kids of talent with athleticism and size, and still be able to hold their own and still be able to be one of the top teams in the country.
Okay, and then from there, the transition from, let's say, age into high school, where they are currently. You said your oldest ones are juniors.
Yeah.
Your son, people like your son, are sophomores.
Yeah.
What accomplishment has that group made in the high school conversation?
So when we transitioned them from the traveling AAU basketball to high school, it was my son's 8th grade year, my older kid's 9th grade year, and we had 5 8th graders that were starting varsity, and probably another 2 or 3 that could have played if they would have went to the respective school.
Say that one more time.
We had 5 kids at 8th grade starting varsity, and we probably would have had 2 or 3 more starting if you know, they would have made a different choice to transfer to different schools.
That's a huge accomplishment, brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had 5 9th graders starting varsity that year too. So there was 9 kids out of that group out of 20 that were playing varsity basketball, 8th and 9th grade.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you've been also very instrumental in your son's team, and the other young ones that you've worked with at Brooklyn Center, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and talk about that accomplishment this year for being a first time, or I don't know. I think that was
35 years.
Yeah, 35 years. What happened this year?
So this year, man, we had goals set, you know, prior years that we thought we could make it to the state tournament, and we didn't. Even when they were in 8th grade, and then now we're in their 3rd year of being on the varsity, and we just felt like it was time to make a real push, and the guys were buying in, and they made some sacrifices. And so just to be so young and still be mentally inept and ready to and physically getting their bodies to a point where they can compete, it started showing up. It probably showed up a year earlier than people thought, but